All right. Welcome, everybody. This is another edition of Atomic Camaraderie, and I'm your host, Kevin Gutt. I'll be bringing a few announcements to you first, and then we'll go ahead and bring in co host Brandon, and we'll go ahead and bring in our guest of the hour. So, again, welcome YouTube world, Spotify world, Facebook world, Pandora world, and iHeart world. I mean, it's just awesome how much the audience is growing out there. So, welcome our audio world, welcome our visual world. And welcome again our friends at over at Comic Crusaders and all of our friends over on the NSC Roadshow Network as well. So we're being simulcast out in several places, and we welcome you spend a little bit of time with us. We'll be going over a few things for the next hour. Lots of great stuff. I'm going to go ahead and kind of run through some things here and kind of my as I kind of tap my papers with my Dennis Miller announcements here. But lots of great stuff. First off, I want to throw up a picture real quick and talk about it. This is a very recent event, and we're very proud of him for this happening. And I'm running through a board of stuff here, so if you wonder why I'm kind of looking around. All right. This is a picture I want to throw up real quick. And if you check out the previews, that's at your local comic book store. The August previews that's coming out features Justin Gray. And Justin Gray's book, right there on the right, Bill of the Kit, got picked up by Blue Juice. So it's going to be published by Blue Juice, and we're very proud of him for that. He was one of the Kickstarters that we worked with here a few months ago and got funded and got really just crazy overfunded. So we're really excited for Justin that book got picked up. So Justin Gray's Bill of the Kit, look for it in stores here before too long. Definitely go check it out in previews, page 297. He's on there, and let's go ahead and give him some love. So again, a few other things. Let's talk about crowdfunding. Okay, that's what we're here to talk about. So there is 4 books that have less than a week, and I'm gonna run down a quick list. And you can see all of these on, if you go ahead and look at inked.pub/live now, that's inked.pub/live now, you can see a lot of these books. There's Local Hero 1, which is it's on the IGG platform. It's getting close to $5,000. That's actually the re-release of that book. It's got 8 new covers, and it's from Monty Michael Moore, so you got to really check that out. Right behind that is Local Hero 2, which is on the Kickstarter platform. It's close to about $30,000 now. Again, it has about a week left. And then there is Pitter Patter, which is a really cool cat book from our friends over at Hasm. And it just topped over $2,000, and they're fixing to hit another funding goal here shortly. It's over on Kickstarter. And then Zoop, another platform that's out there now. This is from our friend over there, Bart Sears, and he's topping over $10,000. It's really cool. It's a sketchbook of all these different headshots of very famous characters along the way that we grew up with. And then a couple of books that are still, like I said, all 4 of those are ending in a week or less, so check those out. Another one to check out is on a game platform. It's called Nippon Village, and we had Nippon funded the comic here a little bit earlier in the year, and now they came back with a game, and the game is just unbelievably well done, so you need to check that out. And then a card set. The Earth Trembles is a card set that's on air right now from our friend Rusty Gilligan, and Rusty will be on a little bit later in the month to talk about that as well. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, there's 4 new ones popping up in August and September. Tiki Zombie is going to be popping up. Mara, which is going to be an online comic. Spicy Pulp 6 is coming up. And then Outlier. So those 4 are coming soon. Be sure to look for those again. Go to ink.pub/live now, and you'll be able to see all those great books and more. So again, all of these great indie creations that are out there, both on any of the platforms that we've talked about so far, are all brought to you by Inked Marketing and our product called Kick It. So let me show you a little bit about Kick It real quick. Kick It is our kickstarting kit platform that helps all these different podcasts. It helps podcasters. It helps books. It helps card games. It helps all these different things, all these creations, all these wonderful new creations get going. And just want to give you a little bit of touch of that real quick. So without further ado, I'm going to show you what we're here for tonight, the man of the hour. And we're going to be talking with Mr. Sam Vera. We're going to be talking about his book, Forbidden. And this book was a 20 years in the making. So he's going to tell us a little bit about that and then kind of go on a little bit about where the book's come, where it's going. And it's a lot of great stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Brandon and our man of the hour, Sam. So let me get to it. How do, Brandon?
Hi,
And
brother.
you're howdy over in Utah. So greetings from Washington. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
let's go ahead. It's you'll be back this way soon. So part of the early part of next month. So let's bring in our man of the hour. How do Sam? It's always good talk. It's always good talking with Sam. Sam is looking like he's been robbed, but it's not robbed. He's in the middle of a
Please
move.
reassure all the listeners
Yes.
and viewers you're not been
Yes,
robbed.
we're not raising money because he was robbed. We're helping with Kickstarter because he's fixing to make a long trip. Where I know a little bit about it, but tell our listeners kind of where you're at and where you're going, because it's kind of a trip, man.
Yeah, I'm in Jersey, and I'm moving to Dallas, Texas. Actually, Rowlett, Texas, which is 45 minutes from downtown Dallas. And I've been packing all day and loading the pods. Yeah, it's going to be a feat, and getting ready to drive straight out there with my boy Jonathan Syfax, and we're going to have my dogs in the back, a cooler, and we're just making pit stops. That's it, and we're just going to head straight out there.
I applaud that effort, man, because I've done that, as you know. I've done that 14-hour haul back and forth when my mom was sick from Georgia to Louisiana, and then when we moved, we did a 16-hour haul with 3 dogs, and it was just crazy. That was the haul from Colorado to Washington State. That one wasn't quite as bad as the move from Georgia to Colorado, which was through Kansas. And no offense to anybody in Kansas, but there is nothing in Kansas. Okay, it is straight. Just I was excited to see windmills. I felt like a kid. I was all excited to finally see something other than just flat. Nice. So yeah.
Sam, you're gonna have a lot of time to draw, bro. That'll be a perfect time to get some drawings in when you're not having to drive.
Yeah, right. Yes, I know. I pack up my equipment next week because I have a second pod coming. So they pick up this pod and then they hold it, and then they drop off another one. I load it up, and that's when all my equipment goes in. So I'll be just with my iPhone, and for about a week.
We need some live from the road though, man. We can't do
it. I'm vlogging the whole thing. I'm vlogging the whole damn thing.
There you go.
It's gonna be a trip. You know, I also got the classics that we're gonna be listening to, karaoke all the way out there, act like fools, and hopefully don't make a left when we should have made a right.
People will be commenting, telling you how to get there appropriately.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's so funny because it's always these early morning stops that really just kind of stick with you. So make sure you kind of get a couple of those in, some 2 a.m. gas station action where there's some interesting characters wandering around. So
yeah. So it's gonna it'll be interesting, and I know all the truck routes, so I know where the big truck stops are, where they have all the great stuff.
So those are the best, man.
Yeah. We'll stop there, walk my dogs. We'll stop like every 6 hours to walk the dogs.
I got to admit, though, on the trip, we broke the trip up, the move, because an 18-wheeler picked up our stuff and took it, which was kind of weird because it took it 2 weeks earlier than it should have. So we were living in the house on like my bachelor, old couch, and we had a kitchen table that was, again, bachelor table, and it was both of those were getting left behind. That was it. It was us, me and my wife and our dogs, and that was it for like 2 weeks. That's all we had in the house.
Starting next Tuesday, we'll be on. Well, actually, right now because the mattress is already loaded up, so we're sleeping on their mattresses.
Yeah.
But as of next Tuesday, there's going to be nothing in the house other than a mini refrigerator, and that's it. So we'll be sleeping like that till the 21st, where she flies out. I drive out.
See, that's kind of like the early stages of marriage, though. you kind of revisit your roots, like when I first moved out and went to college, I had I didn't even on a couch. I had my bed, and I had to tell you how I'm dating myself here, but I had a TV VCR combo. Right?
Oh snap!
And I had I had the VHS.
I still have
it. I had the VHS Spies Like Us. I've seen Spies Like Us like 10,000 times because I didn't have cable for
I would say it's top 10 comedies ever, personally.
So
top 10 comedies
I have my
ever.
VHS DVD combo. I won't give it up because I have a collection of
I
have like the original Star Wars VHS tapes. I have it's one of those things I just can't get rid of.
Hey, just don't forget, be kind, rewind.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
kind, rewind.
That's it.
Somebody put up a meme the other day. They had to explain to their kids because they found a Blockbuster card, and they're like, "What's this? Where's this go?"
Blockbuster was the bomb. I mean, I remember we used to go to Blockbuster. You couldn't go to Blockbuster without getting the popcorn.
Yes,
You got the movies, you got the popcorn.
Yeah.
Oh man,
They always suck you in with that.
There's a special, if it's still on Netflix, about the last standing Blockbuster. I think it's
it's still there.
That's the best part is it's Netflix producing it.
Yeah.
Blockbuster could have killed it. They owned everything. I still to this day am shocked that they didn't just win. But
hey,
whatever.
well, it's what popped up this morning on the news was talking about Disney Plus owns everything now, or Disney owns everything, and they went Disney Plus and then pulled a bunch of stuff off of Netflix and tried to crush them. And now everything's Plus, right? ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, everything's a plus. We're joking.
Just can't keep up. And Netflix did Blockbuster what Amazon did to everybody.
yes. And the crazy thing is, the actress, the actress that plays Black Widow, she is suing.
I heard that this
Disney,
morning, which I completely agree with.
Huh?
I
agree too,
agree with her stance.
She said they explicitly told her that it's just going to theaters and not to streaming. And so they lied, and so they went straight to streaming services. That's $50 million that she could have made.
That was like 20% of opening weekend.
Yes,
kind of a big deal. At least write it in. Say these are your ticket sales, and then this is what you're going to get from streaming for X amount of time, not forever, but for maybe just the premiere night, whatever. Oh yeah, she's gonna win.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's ScarJo, bro. She's gonna win.
She's the main actress.
Black Widow.
Well,
man.
See,
they wouldn't have done that to Robert Downey, so why would they do it to her?
Yeah.
Well, and I can say this and be totally cool with it. My wife is a dead ringer for Scarlett Johansson, so I was like, you know what, I'm kind of pulling for Scarlett in this one. So
she will win. Absolutely,
I kind of have to.
Yeah, ain't no problem with that.
They're going to settle, and they're gonna throw her a big check.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. They don't have a choice in this.
But it's going to set a precedence that's good for contracts with different actors and actresses and production houses. There has to be that line of delineation that says, hey, if you produce it, you're going to get X. If you stream it, you're going to get X. So it's good for the whole industry.
Yeah,
they just try to get around it. They're just like, hey, we're not going to pay her.
I kind of bring it up because of creative IP control, right?
Yeah.
Because the other big thing that sticks in my mind, or what reminded me when this popped up, was the whole Crispin Glover thing, to where when he didn't get recast in Back to the Future 2 and 3, and they just used his likeness and computer generated some things, he sued. He's like, look, I'm not in this, but my likeness is in this, and I deserve some royalties, and won. He turned around and so that again set a precedence on if you're going to do a thing. Yeah.
They did it to Terrence Howard when he wanted to be he wanted a bigger, what was the other for Iron Man? What's the other he was playing before they brought Don Cheadle in? They brought Don Cheadle in because they didn't want to pay Terrence Howard money. And so they brought Don Cheadle in, so they were saving money. And then the whole scandal with Gina Carano when they fired her because of her
talking,
tweets.
Saying things.
So it's like, do they really even care about the actors? And that's going to be the message.
It's only about Disney's image. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
What's the girl from Transformers that got in a scuff?
Megan Fox.
She got in a scuff with the director, and he's like, you know what? I don't need you for the next film.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt. She got the Ninja Turtles right after.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, but isn't it nice though that you get to be that production house with Forbidden and everything that you're doing, that you don't have to worry about any of that crap? Isn't that nice?
Yes. Well, and hopefully, grow it to be something that's last, the test of time. But I mean, it's a great education to watch what happens in the industry. If you want to pay attention, if you're trying to expand your IP. That's where you want to just be aware and navigate. I was watching a video. I forgot the name of the person. He wrote a lot of screenplays, and he was talking about how many times his stuff was stolen.
Oh, I can only imagine.
He said because he was paying. I forgot the name of the service he was paying for. He says that doesn't protect you. You copyright everything, and because the copyright lasts a lifetime. And he goes, even Don't ever do anything on a handshake. Don't anything, make sure you protect it first before you show it to anybody.
Oh yeah.
These guys, I forgot the name. I was watching it this morning, and it was a great education just to see. You just got, if it's your product, just make sure that you take all the necessary steps to protect yourself, so that way you're not sitting there at a bus stop saying, "Wait, I was supposed to be picked up in a limo, and I'm still waiting for a bus. What happened?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's crazy not to go against the Giants because they'll crush us, but I'm just saying that it's you'll watch all these things like the Lion King scandal, right? Where it was they compared it to that Japanese movie, and like all these scenes are very similar. He's running, and then of course he holds Simba up over the crowd. I mean, all these the Great Rock and all these things are like completely identical.
Right.
And
But
you're like,
that's the thing, and that was another thing this guy said, and I'll remember his name. But he said, "There's nothing that hasn't been done. It's just how you tell the story. But if you're telling it through your own perspective and you provide a fresh approach to something, people will embrace it. But if
Yes.
you are basically taking what somebody else did and just redoing it with your characters, then I equate it to like the homage cover I did for Cast the Crazies, right? So it was an homage to Action Comics. I said what it was. I took my characters and I put my characters in a scene that's similar to the Superman with the bus. I had the Crazy Man and I had the Crazies in their bus, because I had all those things. But I did it in my own flavor. But I said homage to Action Comics.
Right. You gave credit.
Yeah.
I didn't try to say I created this, this
Right.
off my head, and I think that's the problem. No one wants to recognize or give credit to where they were the influencers, the ones the originators.
Well, it's amazing because I can even go back to when I first started in advertising, and I was an art grunt, and I'm out there cranking out ads for banks and casinos and all kind of stuff. And I can remember being at my first award show, and I had done an ad, and it got a chunk of glass. It got an award, and so when they read off the award for the campaign, I stood up, and when I stood up, the owner of the agency stood up at the same time. And that was a real quick lesson in his name's on the door, so you better sit down. he didn't say anything. It was just a look we traded.
Hey,
and I
bro.
sat back down.
Yeah.
And he did nothing for that. He had no touch of the campaign whatsoever. It was completely something that I had done, but just because it was done through the firm, that was that. And I was like, you know what? And that sparked the seeds of wanting to do my own firm. So I applaud that. I'm glad he did that, because that started a fire in me. Like, you know what? You need to kind of like an IP. You need to control this thing yourself.
Yeah.
And then I've kind of had a touch of that here and there. It's kind of interesting in this business, and I'm not going to name names because I'm not like that. But there's an unnamed network that's out there now that once NSC Live TV came up, they started watching. Then they interviewed. And at the time, I was very naive to those kind of espionage kind of things. I mean, I knew they went on because I had done a bunch of stuff in casino marketing. So, but I was like, yeah, it's comics. I mean, but oh no, oh no. So I do this thing. I do the interview. And even in the interview, the guy interviewing me goes, wow, that's a pretty novel idea. I have a network that has all these different channels on it. They're all comical. Man, it even says in the interview, literally, I'm going to steal that idea because there's no original ideas. And I kind of went, well, that's interesting. And then about a year later, he's swapped over to a very similar platform to NSC Live TV and even kind of throws in some of the same wording and some of the same flavor. And now he's trying to get into the Kickstarter side of things. I'm like, are you just gonna keep following me? Do I need to kind of like just like give you my business plan or what? And it's just interesting how other times too, there's been podcasters on the network that I've actually asked, are you going to be a firm or are you going to stay in podcasting? I just like to know, because I don't feel that I compete with anybody else. I only compete with my own goals, right? But other people don't feel that way. And I've had 2 podcast groups that have come in to the network that the more they start asking questions, that it's very apparent that they want to become a firm. And then all of a sudden, whammo, now they're a firm out there. So It's just funny. And you ask them, oh, no, that's not what I want to do. I'm not doing that. I'm just kind of feeling things out. Oh, okay. And then So it's just funny that you said you gotta definitely, brand everything, and you have to legalize everything, and you have to guard against everything, because they want to come stand on your shoulders when you do something innovative,
right,
and
right.
run with it.
Right.
I mean,
and that's the thing. I think if you just do your due diligence, if you're serious about growing your brand, then take the time to invest in protecting your brand.
Yeah, you have to. It's just so that's a good lesson for all you guys out there that are listening, that are starting your IPs and starting your companies and starting your things. Guard it, protect it, give it, like you said, give it what it needs to be something. Give some longevity to it. You're gonna have to protect it, it's sad in today's world, but there's a lot of people out there that obviously can't come up with ideas of their own, so they went ahead and just pull yours. And
take the money that you're going to spend in the next 3 months to get your new comic issues and get your coffee at Starbucks, and take that money and invest in trademarking and copywriting, and you'll be fine.
Yep.
Because the biggest thing is like, oh, it's expensive. Well, how much do you spend in comics, and how much do you spend on coffee? You know what? Go get instant coffee, make it at home. Save the money and go invest in yourself. There's always a way if you really care about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
That is great advice.
I really like what Pablo Picasso said, though, guys, is, he's often quoted with saying, good artists copy and great artists steal. So it's just, it's a good conversation. But I also like to be on the side that errs more towards optimism and to not really put any energy towards those things. Personally, I think it's good to always be smart, but at the end of the day, kind of have blinders on with it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this regardless.
The way I look at it, I always take the high road, right? I just leave it in my review. I make note of it, that this happened, and what to watch for, and then I just move on, because like you said, that's a great point. You can't dwell in it, because it's gonna happen. Okay, anybody out there listening, it's gonna happen. If you do something
original, everyone's looking for the next trend.
Sure.
Trend chasers out there, and they're going to look for the next trend. And if you're moving at a snail's pace, they're going to capitalize that and move faster, right? So I think the biggest thing is just the only thing that's original is what you do, right? Because you're adding your flavor to it. But everyone's done so much. There's the stories, the love stories have been told 5 million ways. It's just how you tell the story, from what perspective, which point of view are you telling that story. And just tell the best. Don't try to be Romeo and Juliet. Just tell the story about you and the girl down in the house next door, and how did that happen. And that's a new story. It's a love story, but it's a new story. It's about the girl over the fence, right? So those are the things that people just need to just focus on. Don't worry about the opinions. Put out great work, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. I said we do good work for good people. And that's the way I leave it. That's just, and we've pressed on with that, for years. So, and that's the way we're going to stay. We're not going to retaliate. We're not going to return fire and anything crazy like that against some sort of. I've seen so many Facebook battles. I just want to just.
I don't get involved in any of that stuff.
I stay clear away from it. I'm like, you guys hash it out. I'll just be over here eating popcorn and watching Netflix and enjoying a good time.
And I delete trolls.
Yeah. So, Sam, talking about originality, bro, I'm looking at a lot of the artwork that you have in this, and it is some of the most original. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, how would you describe this style? It's really unique.
I created this in 2000, and I created it for me. And I designed the characters, I created the history, the character bios, everything. I plotted it out so I know exactly what the start, the middle, and the end is. And when I created it, I started drawing some of the pages, and I realized immediately I wasn't the right artist for it. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to put it to bed until I meet that right person. And I started working on another project called Cosmic Wars that was more suited for my style. And I ran into Anibal Arroyo, who's the artist on this issue. And we were at a Star Wars convention, which was a big mistake because we didn't make any money. The only thing
seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you don't draw for Star Wars? No, you don't create Star Wars? Like, damn. But only two things that came out of it. We got put in a documentary called Inkswell, a comic book documentary, and we met Anibal Arroyo. And he was serving in the military. He was there on leave, and he had his portfolio. He was looking for feedback. we looked at it, and our buddy Jonathan Syfax was working with Anibal on a book called Street Journal, and then it wasn't fully completed. So Anibal, I didn't want to let him walk away. So I said, "Look, I pulled out. I said I have a project. If you want to do it," he said, "Sure." So I pulled out a binder, and I had two scripts
A
already.
little bit of dust off of it.
Yes, I had the first two scripts written. I had all the character designs, the bios, the history. So I gave him this thick binder, and he was just like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah,
And
that's
so
a freaking artist perfect scenario.
yes, he didn't have, and I gave him the storyboard, the 11 by 17 paper. I said, "Here you go," and he immediately went and fleshed out the characters in his style, and I fell in love with his style. And then he thumbnailed the whole book. I looked at it. I probably made 3 call-outs. That was it, and he ran with it.
Oh,
and I knew
wow.
I knew he was the perfect guy for this story. And so his style, for me, I don't know how to categorize it. It's just
I didn't either, to be honest. There is a lot of different little it's really unique. So people, you need to look at the art. It's really cool.
Yeah, so he did a fantastic job in it. We released it in 06, I believe it was 05, 06, and issue 0 and issue 1, and we got a lot of press from it, a lot of critic reviews from it, great response at conventions, and then I left the game, for 10 years, and I disappeared, and I came back 2 years ago, and I decided to redo Forbidden, and my buddy George was like, "Yo, you need to finish that project." And so I went back, I opened it up, reread it, and then I finished the other 6 issues. It's 168 pages total, the whole series. And
Good job. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Good
and then
job,
Anibal was busy, so he couldn't finish the project. So I got another artist who takes off from the second issue, which will launch in the fall. His name is Primi Santra, and he did a fantastic job. What I say about those 2 artists is that they're fearless, because they weren't afraid to take on the tasks that I put before them with some of the scenes.
Absolutely.
And some epic scenes, and they get even more fantastic as the series goes on.
Well, even the story itself, and for you guys out there watching, listening, this is built up across 20 years.
Yeah.
So this wasn't, this is one of those kind of things that there's a lot invested into this project, as far as, sweat equity, and as far as laying, like you said, laying everything out, which I definitely applaud, because that's what you got to really think about. And when the other thing is too, to catch people up, when we was talking about the 10-year departure, that departure can be caught in their other IP, which is Catch the Crazies. So that's the one that we got a chance to work on with Sam before, and that was a really fun project. And that's his 10-year departure, and then coming back, him and George coming back into the podcast scene and kind of looking around, going, "Man, what happened in the last 10 years?" I've been kind of out of the loop, and now we're back. So that's those 2 kind of things running a parallel path.
Yeah, and I didn't know, I wasn't too versed on Kickstarter. So when I finished the script, I commissioned an artist. I paid out of pocket and to finish the series, and then I also commissioned a fantastic gaming fantasy artist to do the cover for the graphic novel, which is the painted cover that's on the main page of the Kickstarter. His name is Eric Ifata, and he's from Indonesia, and he did an amazing job, and it's a wraparound cover. So that's one side of the cover. And so when I collect it next year, and my goal is to have a paperback and a hardcover. So I had a lot of different, and then I had a variant cover by a fantastic artist named David Keeles. He does the one with the king on the throne with the 3 concubines on the bottom. And the colorist, her name is Barbara Parogi. She's killing it. She's up to page 75 now.
Wow.
So by the time December comes, the whole book will be completely colored. That's the only thing that's missing. Everything's completely inked and lettered. We're just waiting for the final pages of coloring. This book that's on Kickstarter right now is completely done and just ready to go. And
it's always the best. That's just a great way to do it.
And you backed it. How fast did you back this thing,
bro? 2 hours.
Yeah.
Holy shisa, dude, that's so good, man. You still got a week left, and you doubled your back. Dude, that's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, we did a live.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, we did a live launch, and it was fantastic. And one lucky person claimed this piece here. They're gonna get framed, and this is the cover. It's the original art. It's the cover for issue 0.
Oh wow. That's awesome. I was actually going to ask you kind of their drawing process, and especially because you're the one that wrote it, right?
Yeah.
And you have a visual representation of what you want them to try and achieve with the scene.
Yeah.
So did you feel like it was a pretty cohesive, collaborative? I mean, did they sketch it out a little bit at the beginning and then kind of build up, or how? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the process.
So when I write the scripts, I write it DC style. It said, page 1, 4 panels. Panel number 1, bird's eye view. And I describe all the elements in the shot. Who's facing who, whatever, and I have the dialogue. So it's very clear to interpret for an artist. Because when I write a script, I write it as if I'm going to draw it. So, and I want to make sure that I'm clear on what I'm going to create. So when I gave it to the artist, it was easy for them to interpret. So what they did was both of them illustrate the same way. They provided blue pencil thumbnails, page layouts. And so they were roughs, and I was able to see the positioning, the camera angles. On occasion, I would say, change this angle to this. There was one scene where Desiree is talking to her father, who's Lord Vox, and pleading with him to release her brother because he imprisons his son. And the angle didn't work for me. It wasn't dramatic enough. So I was like, just change the camera angle. And because they had him on the same level, and it didn't show how powerful he was. So I wanted him on a riser and a hurt. So I wanted this, it was just more powerful and dramatic that way. And so those are the kind of little direction notes that I provided. But it was with both artists. I think with Anibal, I probably made three or four corrections total. And with Prime Sancho, because he had to take on the rest, which was 4 issues, and that was over 100 pages for those 4 issues.
Oh, wow.
I think I must have had maybe about 9 call-outs. Other than that,
that's incredible. That shout out to you for writing it so concisely that they could, manifest it, and on their part to be able to. I mean, people don't get it. They don't understand how you're taking words and you're making pictures out of them, right? Yeah, it's kind of hard. Yes. Oh yeah, Kevin, do we have some pictures we can throw up of all the?
Well, I was going to see if you want to share a screen and if you want to kind of run through.
Show us some of your stuff. We usually like to get some of the back end stuff. You never show. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold on, I'm glad to open it up on.
Then when you pop up on this side, I'll grab it. It's always we've done it a couple different ways in the past, and I always think it's the best way for me for our style is just kind of let them show their thing and kind of run through it and go from there.
Yeah, we steal your screen, bro. we didn't tell you that was going to happen. That's the best part. You're like, okay, make sure we move this over here and this over here.
Yeah.
All right, there he is. All right, you got the main screen, man. Take it away. Lead us through.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that is the side A for the wraparound cover that Eric Ifata did. And he did this in 2018, where I commissioned him. And so basically, before I even scroll, I'll tell you the premise. So centuries ago, there was a race of people that roamed the surface of the earth, and they were broken up into 3 components. You had hunters, you had warriors, and you had farmers. And the hunters went scavenging for food, and they entered a forest that they knew they shouldn't have entered. And they were immediately met and attacked by creepers, and they're dark entities, these demons that roam there. One escaped with his life, got back to the village. At nightfall, a figure shows up at the head of the village and says, "Give us back the person who's desecrated our land, and no harm will come to you. Choose not to, and you'll suffer the wrath of Nakron." And Nakron is the overseer, or the ruler of the dark forces. They chose not to. By morning, they woke up to screams. They started burning from the sun and dying from the sun. So they ran underground, never to be seen again. So now, fast forward centuries later to modern day time. Technology, we got cars, cell phones, all that stuff. Well, Nakron's evolved in the form of David Hunter, who's a billionaire mogul. His goal is to dominate the globe. But there's one caveat. Prophecy states that his plans will be thwarted at the hands of the son of Vox if risen from the caverns. So that's where issue 0 started, which I launched on Indiegogo successfully. And it started off with a dramatic scene where the father is shouting at his son, "Enough." And he's like, "But father, how do you know this curse still exists? We've been down here for ages." And the father imprisons his son until he gets rid of these foolish thoughts. So the son commits the ultimate sin against the family. His name is Spartacus, and he earns the name Sin because he fights his way out, spilling blood with his own people, and with the aid of his love interest Arius, which you see in that picture. And it ends with their escape. And so issue number 1 starts off with you find out, did they escape? What happened? Did they get to the surface? And what will Nokron do? Has he been alerted of the Son of Rocks that risen? So that's where it goes. So you have old world meets new world. In this book, you'll see scenes where Sin is walking through the streets, and he's confused by what he's seeing. And
so you're saying modern day. They've been like,
yes.
Is that what you're saying? That type of a clash.
So
I mean, don't give away too much, but that makes sense.
So think about you probably think he's going to a cosplay contest the way he's walking through the streets. So and he's confused by what he's seeing. So
he can only be confused in Bourbon Street, New Orleans, but that's a tale for a different day.
That's a usual day. It's a typical Tuesday there, bro.
Yeah, that's a Tuesday over there.
Yeah. So I launched it on Indiegogo about 4 months ago and successfully, but then I got feedback saying bring it to Kickstarter, and so I was like, all right, so I'm gonna bring issue 1 to Kickstarter, and see if that was a better investment.
It's interesting to watch the jump between the platforms real quick. Not to squirrel off on too much of a tangent, but some people start with Kickstarter and then go to Indiegogo while the thing's going to print, so they're going to go ahead and dip into that market, and then some people flip it, or like Monty did recently, the way his campaign was set up, he launched initially on Kickstarter and then re-released on Indiegogo with different covers, and that took on a whole new group. So it's interesting to watch people moving back and forth. And then now there's this Zoop thing that's out there, which, it's interesting to watch the different platforms and how they work and interact now.
Because and from what I understand, there are different. There are people who prefer Indiegogo and there are people who prefer Kickstarter.
It's Ford Chevy, man. It
really is Ford Chevy. That's a great way to describe it.
And that's how people are about it. I mean, and they're very much diehard connected to one or the other. And
yes. So I give the premise there. So here are the sample pages from issue number 0, and basically you see his sister Desiree standing there pleading with her brother. There's a scene where from issue 0 where his father, the son already spilled blood and he's escaping. So the father's like, find him. That they're going after his son.
Hey Sam,
yes.
Do you mind making it full screen so that everybody can see it a little bit more, even just that window? There. Is that any better, Kevin?
It's going to be bigger.
Control plus. You're good, homie. I was just making sure everybody could see it. There's a rawness is the only word that I can use that describes how some of these lines are with these characters. You're fine, Sam. Yeah, okay. Don't sweat it. Yeah, you're good.
Let me see if I can view. Oh yeah, Control Plus. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Control Plus should be your main ticket there. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, there's just some. It's a very unique style. That there's something there. Yeah, that's bomb right there. Money.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Bell's. I mean, I love this style.
It's like a 2D, 3D is the only way that
yeah, and
that's the only way I can describe it.
And again, his style is complemented by Barbara's coloring.
Okay,
like she does a great job with this. She's doing the entire series. She's amazing. I found her on Fiverr, and
oh no way,
yes.
That's awesome. Fiverr's legit. Yeah.
So I put out a challenge, and one of the requirements was to show me your coloring style on a page, and she won it, and then she's doing the entire series.
That's so cool.
She was the only one.
Where does she get that handoff? So does he give her where the shadows are going to be, or is that described by you? Like, how does she know? Because coloring is a completely different ball game than.
No, she's just talented. She was able. She understood that they're in the caves, so there's got to be a lot of shadowing and because playing off of torches, the glowing lights and stuff. So she's doing a fantastic job. and again with her, I only made a couple of call outs on color styles, but she's doing a fantastic job with this. And this is like this scene here with the wolves on the hilltop, the glow coming from the windows. I mean, she's just fantastic.
And now that you mention that with the caves and torches, with them being underground, now it makes it. I like it even more because now it makes more sense. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so unique.
Because that's all they've known is the underground, and so that's why he challenges the father. But this
How
is
did
him.
you come up with this idea of the underground? Because you know that it's a very old thought, right, Agartha? That there is a place in our earth, right?
Oh, I believe that. I believe that there's life under the sea as well.
Yeah.
And what happened was I created Sin first, and I created him in his in the evolved form where he adapts to the environment and he gets this uniform. And that's when I initially created him. And then I started asking myself, why is his name Sin? That can't be his birth name. And I started working my way backward. I said, okay, he had to get his name first. He had to do something to get that name. What is his real name? And the name Starticus came into my head. So I wrote it down. And so I said, okay, so what did he do that was so sinful, that was so bad? It has to be something against the family. So I said, okay, so that's when I came up with the father. And I started designing the father, Lord Vox. And I said, so what was it? The son challenges the authority of his father.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, okay, so who's caught in the middle? Is there another sibling? That's how I created his sister Desiree. Then I asked myself, I said, all right, so it had to be because he was challenging him on something, and that's when I came up with the underground theme. And I said, but he couldn't have gotten that information on his own. If that's all they know, who's going to plant that seed in his? It has to be an influencer. And there's nothing more powerful than a love interest because love is blind. So here comes a love interest, saying the curse is false, is not true, blah, blah, blah. We need to get to the surface. And that's where that came from. And that's how, and I worked my way backward. I just kept asking myself questions.
Well, Sam, I would like everybody to make sure that they just heard everything you said and to really listen to that again. You just gave the best crash course of how to make a comic. That was incredible because you're right. You have to put these pieces together, right? And so that was amazing. Like I said, everybody listening and watching, that was a crash course on how to make a comic.
It was. That's
that
story building.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was story building 101, man. He just laid it out and laid it out beautifully. So yeah.
Yeah, I think everything you have to. I think I'm a child at heart, and I'm always asking why. I'm always like that. But why, mommy? But why, mommy? Right? Don't touch the burner. But why, mommy? Because you'll get burned. But why? It's like all those things. So for me, it's like asking myself the questions. It had to make sense to me. And I wouldn't stop until I had.
If you were the reader, right? Is
Right.
that kind of the perspective? Is
Yes.
if I was the reader, how could I put this together or not put it together? Because
Yeah.
it does have to be. They just have to be fluent. There does have to be a fluidity to character development.
You always have to keep the end user in mind, right? And no matter what you create, whether it's a computer program or a game or a comic or a network or a podcast, you always have to de-engineer it all the way back down to the core of, would I watch this? Would I read this? Would I be connected to this? Because you are your own audience. In other words, you're trying to find more people like you because that's what you're into.
Right.
So yeah, it's very much a good way to tie it together.
And the characters have to have heart, and every character is. There are no filler characters. They all have purpose, and they all are a piece of the puzzle. And there's a link that happens. And what I'm hoping when you read it, you're going to fall in love. You're going to get angry. You're going to try to anticipate what's going to happen next, and hopefully you get surprised. So there's a lot of there's definitely it ends on the last issue on a cliffhanger. So it leaves it definitely ends that first volume, and hopefully the readers can start saying, "Ooh, I wonder what happens to this person next." So I wonder what.
Yeah, absolutely. Then there's your second Kickstarter that you can rock with us over here at Inked, and we'll get you right, dude. That's fantastic. No, I love it. Keep scrolling through some of these real quick if you don't mind. I think some of our viewing audience would like to, and I'm liking it too. So whatever they want. No.
So this is this character. His name is Viejo, and you'll find out his role in this entire saga. And so he finds Sin in the desert. And so this is where Sin is having an adverse effect.
See, that was modeled after some shots I had to send in,
Did you get paid
after a
for those,
workout one
Kevin?
day. No, I just donated them.
Oh, okay. We'll let it slide. Yeah, are you using my likeness, bro?
I gave my likeness to the project.
Yeah. So
that's great.
And Anibal captured the mood
perfectly.
I was very proud of that. And this was the first cover for issue 0. And what I loved about it is it tells the story, right? So you have the son looking up, right? So that's his wondering what's on the surface. You have the sister with that concerned look on her face, saying she's torn between her brother and her father. And then you have the father in deep thought, what am I going to do with my son? And he captured all of that and so beautifully with the rotted trees. I mean, it was just
the way that it tunnels itself back. Is there any meaning or purpose? And I guess not to give away anything, but no, I like the way that it all coincides there. It's awesome.
Yes. So and the ironic thing is only men rule, right?
Shocker.
But Desiree, the sister, is the most strategic, the most fearless, and the most cunning of the siblings. And
sounds like a woman too.
Yeah, and you'll learn that, and that's why.
Did I say that out loud? I am so. That was my.
We're gonna get letters voice. Now. We're gonna.
That was my inside voice. I'm sorry, Sam.
There's gonna be groups calling in.
Yes, they're amazing. I really cannot say enough. There's such a uniqueness to it, and like you said, to be able to follow a story. And I'm of the opinion that it is good to kind of end it a little bit when you end a volume, and then be able to see how the fans like it. And let me ask you a question. We've asked this to a bunch of other artists: is when you're developing it, me and Kevin have seen this a bunch. Is you have your core characters, but then all of a sudden you develop all these side ones, or you hear something from somebody. Was that kind of your your style and how you did it, or you, like you said, you just mapped it all out? There's nobody else.
No, there's a lot of characters that are introduced into the series, and you'll learn about them. And if you've been watching my promos, like I post every damn day.
You cannot turn on Facebook without seeing something that Sam is up to. I'm just going to throw that there right now. You cannot scroll.
You're a social slut. Yeah. It's all good, bro.
He is all over it. Yeah. What's that? He's everywhere. He's everywhere. That song. So,
I joke that I'm the pimp and the street walker at the same time. I'm like, go get my money. Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, hold on. I'll be right there. I'll be right there.
I knew he was everywhere. I knew he was everywhere when I turned it on one day, and he's walking his dog down the street, and he's on his phone and he's just going. I'm like, yeah, he never stops. He's just
keeping it interesting, bro.
He is, man. Like I said, he's in the process of a move. I mean, look, he's complete. There's nothing else. There's a chair and a mic in him. Okay, everything else is in the pod.
And this is my 12th interview in a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. he just burns it up.
Yeah, no, that's freaking awesome.
He's to be patterned after. Yeah,
and it goes to show. And Kevin, we've said this to every single artist on the show. No one ever sees the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making these things happen. Don't. So I want to personally commend you for how long, because you could always shelf those things, never come back to them ever. That's a very real thing.
Well,
so I just want to commend you for sticking with it. It takes a lot of courage. So hats off, bro.
Monty Michael Moore put a post up the other day, and it's a tattoo that's on the face of a hand, and it talks about success. The dues for success are due every day. It's not a
you show up every day.
Payments due every day. And that's just a commend, like you said, what you've been up to, and you just there's very few people out there that I think work as hard as Sam does, and Sam and I have gotten to do a lot of stuff together, and like I said, it's my hats off, because he's always out there getting it done. And that's something for you guys in the listening audience, guys and gals that are out there wanting to make
that to heart. Everybody listen to that, man. It's how you get it done.
It's a 24/7, 365 in the middle of a move, walking your dog, going to get some milk in the middle of the night. It's a 24/7, 365 commitment to make that happen.
Yeah. And even during the move, I'm doing a convention at
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why not?
and,
Why not?
and I'll be in the artist alley. But on the Sunday, on the second day of the convention, I'm doing a live panel with the comic book school on creating compelling characters, and I'll be drawing with a couple of other artists,
Hell yeah.
designing the
Hell
characters
yeah.
as the
See, I
the
mean,
fans talk.
Good
you
job,
you
bro.
can catch him at exit 27, 15, and 4
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you want to swing by.
During this time. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, bro. Hell yeah. Good job, man.
That was what was that? That was in Living Color. Did that skit about the shopping network, and they were
Oh
like,
yes,
catch us at the corner of.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they bust in the guy's thing, and our phone number is 555-0487. Yeah,
I
More
love it.
money, more money,
yeah,
more money.
More money.
yeah. He's the in Living Color of comics, man. That's his new. There you go.
And you know what I think sets it the most apart, Sam, and I think that you will agree with me, and a lot of the hard workers that are listening to this, is that it's you love what you do, and it's not work. It's you don't have to. There was something really neat said by the CEO of Microsoft maybe last year that really brought a lot of things in perspective, and I think a lot of the listening audience, and Sam as well, is that it used to be that work-life balance, right? Well, that ended up you'd have to trade off or say what was what. So he said, gear more towards a work-life, balance them together. You don't have to the harmony that you get. The work-life harmony is what you're searching for, right?
Yes.
So it's cool that you get to kind of have it be a part of your life, and it's not like something that's
it's funny when you do merge those because for those of you in the listening audience, that's what Atomic Camaraderie is all about, because it was taking camaraderie and comic and slamming them together, like the word smog, right? It's smoke and fog. So we slam those two words together to come up with a new word, and then first it was camaraderie, and then I'm like, well, I work in the nuke industry. They need a little bit of extra edge, so why not jazz it up with some radioactive stuff, right? And that's where Atomic Camaraderie came from. Just kind of jazz it up even more. So I get to pull fun from the day gig and blend it in exactly with this, and it's fun and it works, and people love the premise of it. So the whole premise is right. We're doing all these things, and it's actually from the past. So we've captured what's going on in society during COVID, and these tapes are found years later in a nuclear facility buried in a vault, and people like taking these tapes out and they'll be listening to Sam going, it's back years later, like, oh wow, this stuff really happened. So we talk about capturing tapes and being hidden like them, because I actually work at the Manhattan Project, so it's like things have been found 50 years in the future on this podcast, and that's because we've captured these really cool things and these really cool moments during COVID time. So yeah, it's fun when you tie those things together and get jazzed about it.
Yeah. This is another piece that Anibal did. The cover. That's the cover for issue 1. Again, I love the fact that he incorporates some of the newer characters that are coming into the series.
It took me I was like, huh? What? I love it. I love it. The intrigue was right there, but I was definitely
the dad's got the I told you so look on his face right there.
Well, and the space guy with the gun, I was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting.
The dad's like, see, I told you, son. There's nothing up there.
This is the variant cover that I did.
Oh wow!
So it incorporates David Hunter, who is the evil one. Looking in his reflection, you got Sin and Arius, then you got who they meet, Viejo, and then you have the cloak figures. You're wondering, what's their role, and you'll find out in the series. And
it looks like it was done in chalk.
Oh well, I had it.
I mean, it probably wasn't, but that style looks very like chalk.
Yeah, I had the person color over my pencils.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted it. Look, yeah, I wanted that.
That's what gives that softer look. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is a sketch cover by Anibal. Again, you see the cloak figures. You see the figure in the middle. You're wondering what that is. There's David Hunter in the center. So you're wondering what's going on.
Great job.
Cover,
very intriguing to make you want to read it, right? Because the cover is kind of important.
Yeah.
So it intrigues. Oh, it's great.
Yeah. And this was a variant piece that I did that was only available on day 1 backers. It's no longer available as an add-on either. This was basically a Sin in his evolved state with Viejo, and and then that came.
Oh, did you just give something away, bro?
Well, because
I'm just busting your
well,
chops.
the thing about issue 0 and 1 is a lot of people who bought it back in 2005 and 6 know,
Okay.
but they don't know what happens in the next issue, which is launching.
That's a hell of a long time to wait for something to happen. All your fans are
Oh,
like,
man,
hey,
that was
bro,
like-
it's been 15 years now. We're trying to
There's
figure out
a-
what happened with this character. You might
It's like Lucas when you try to get that new Star Wars.
Yes, there was a
What
thing
happened?
that came out on Facebook one time, and they were talking about having to wait so long for the next Harry Potter, and the guy turns to the kid, he's like, dude, how long did it take for us to see the next Star Wars, man? I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we just go into the rewards.
Yeah, man, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and so they're all is broken down so that you can get, if you're a true Forbidden fan, you can get all the covers, you can get some of the covers. We have a retail bundle for the retailers. We had a couple of retailers that picked that up. This is like the ultimate sketch.
Is that something that you would like to have happen? Like what the Billy the Kit one that we just did, right, Kevin? It got picked up by a publisher. Is that something that you're looking that you're searching for, or do you want to be the one buying it? Do you want to bind them yourself and send them out?
No, my goal is to license it out, and so I can just create and do what I do best.
Hell yeah! So any licensing agents listening to this, he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's available at Exit 37 next week.
37 next week.
You go hook him up.
This is homage to Doctor Strange.
Yes.
And so this was Nacron and Sin.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I went there and I was like, okay, hold up, I've seen this before, but maybe I haven't.
Yes, there's a Doctor Strange. I think it's 159. It was like a.
Oh, that's.
It was the cover. It's same premise. But, I just put my characters in.
I dig it.
And then this is basically you can get, and it's a limited to 100 copies. It comes with a certificate of authenticity, signed and numbered. And so then you can collect the covers that I did. And if you're just a fan of Sam, you can collect the covers that Anibal did with original black and white print as well. And this is the bundle that the retailers.
Yeah, okay.
So as a thank you to the retailers, if they got 10 copies of Forbidden Issue number 1, they will get the homage cover for free, signed with a certificate of authenticity for their store. And if a retailer doesn't want 10, they want 5, they can get 5 of 0 and 5 of number 1. And they'll still get the cover with the certificate of authenticity signed for their store.
We need to talk to you about getting some NFTs going for some of these, my friend. I know a guy that might be able to help you get some other avenues. So
yeah,
we'll have a future conversation. Voodoo Lounge, that's our other podcast.
Yeah,
that's what we work with the NFT artists now. So there's a lot of cool money to be made.
Yeah, I've been to. It's on my bucket list to. Educate myself on the whole process.
It's we'll talk offline about it, because this, as Brandon mentioned, that's you'll see some things, and I'll probably throw a little bit of a teaser out there at the end of the show about Voodoo Lounge, because being from Louisiana, I mean, it's almost like they'll take away your card if you don't talk about New Orleans and voodoo. So I kind of had to, so it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good tie-ins. It's kind of like taking this premise of talking about comics and getting with creators, and then stretching it out there more into pop culture, into movies and books and all kind of other things. But yeah, it's coming here in the next month or two. You'll see more about it. So
nice. So like this one here, we did a live sketch off between me and Anibal, and we each did six sketches. It was moderated by George Medina, and they would throw out a character challenge, and Anibal and I would draw it. So all those 12 sketches, one lucky person can get that in this bundle.
Was it like a race?
It's like
how
piano.
does one do
it's
a
like
sketch off? It's like
dueling
put your
pianos,
pencil down
man.
and you're done. You're like
no. So we had 5 minutes per character. We're actually tightening up the sketches. But we had 5 minutes per character, and it was 6 characters in total. And so we decided that we were going to tighten up the sketches for whoever got that bundle. But it was a great event that we have. We have a live event the Wednesday the 4th, where we have 8 guest artists coming on, and they're competing with us in the sketch off.
Oh, snap.
And so what we did was they submitted all their characters that they've created, and it's going into like a bucket, and then George.
Oh hell! Everybody just here, draw this.
It's the last pencil standing, man.
Yes. So it was such a
That's
successful
awesome.
live event that all these artists said, "Hey, I want to be part of this." And so we're doing a live sketchathon, and it's the day before the closing of the Forbidden campaign. So it's several things. It's episode 300 for us.
Oh wow!
So we're celebrating episode 300.
Damn, bro, good job, dude. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, and plus we're doing the live sketch off. Plus we're doing the last live campaign for Forbidden.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because for
all
those
the
of you out
all
there,
on a Wednesday.
yeah, I mean, they're just
in an empty
burning it up.
house. We're in an empty house.
Hey, what better place to do it? Hey, everybody,
Yes.
come on in. Oh
Yes.
yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's really cool, man. I'm glad that because you see different sides of it, right? But some people are writers, some people are drawers, so it's cool to see that you kind of have your hands in all of it. I like it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then people can get the original art pages from Forbidden. This is the sketch page, and it'll come with the sketchbook cover.
So cool.
This was the 2000. This is my first concept design for Forbidden in 2000.
Wow.
Not that I'm gonna go find another artist for this, but this is not published, never before seen. That it'll again framed, and it'll come with a clip of Shaku.
20 years old, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, and this was done by David Keelis, fantastic artist. His pencil is so tight, it's unreal.
It's amazing.
And then
people don't get pencils hard.
Yes.
So hard.
Yes, and somebody already claimed this one that I showed you guys in the beginning. They're gonna get this framed.
You can make that like you can take all your images, bro, and turn them into one of those like color by number, coloring adult coloring books. I'm serious.
Yeah, and then they can add on all these extra stuff: the stickers, the bookmarks, the pinups, the holofoil cover. So if they just wanted a digital, but they wanted a holofoil cover, and the holofoil cover happens to be our most sought after cover right now.
Oh, it's legit, bro.
Yeah. The sketchbook, volume 1, commission sketch card, the T-shirt, or the Forbidden card.
See, here's where the T-shirt.
I don't think you have enough stuff, Sam.
No, you need a few more pages.
Hey, can anybody help him out with some swag?
Yeah, he needs some more swag.
I got
here's the T-shirt thing, and I'm gonna
great.
pitch this up here.
I think it's great.
And you're gonna hear this. You've heard this on other shows. We always tell people, look, you send us a shirt, we'll wear it, and it's a free pitch right there. Get some shirts.
We'll get
we'll wear it live, and I mean, you got several issues coming, so that's just. I mean, we each have a bill. We're each sitting with a free billboard right here, so that's all it costs you is the cost of a T-shirt. So there you go. That's marketing. Right there, marketing 101. Everything's a billboard. I mean, I'm a walking billboard. Hat, shirt, pants, you name it. We
talked about tattoos.
Yeah, we throw that out there.
Yeah,
I'll put some stickers on my car. We'll ride around. I get some Forbidden magnets out there. Yeah.
We got you, bro.
Awesome. So the one thing I decided to do is that because I know there's a lot of campaigns out there, and then people are like, I only have so much. So for the $10 digital backers, they will be included in if we get to the 50 backer goal. They will get this physical trading card, limited edition, the Darkness card. In the mail, so they might just back us digitally, but they're going to get a physical reward in the mail. So
good job, man. That's cool.
They're well within striking distance because they're at like 35. Right now,
I was going to say I'm on there.
They're well within striking distance of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's help push them over the edge, guys. You guys gotta go take a look at this.
We're throwing some stuff in there. We're going to be pushing.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and we already unlocked this one. And that was the stretch goal number 1, and that was just a digital print of that poster. And
when can people expect to receive these things? What's
September.
Kind of the time frame?
September.
Awesome. So everything ends.
I don't play. So one thing that and I get a lot of it comes from my retail background.
If they buy it, give it to them.
when we launch a Kickstarter, that means the product's ready. So
all right. I was going to ask.
Only thing that happens is as soon as the funds come in, it goes to print. And then it goes and then we just package it and send it. So normally it takes about a week for us to get it back from the printer. And so, Kickstarter takes about 2 weeks before they release the funds to you. They reconcile, they do all the stuff that they have to do. They send it to you. And then immediately, as soon as I get that alert from Kickstarter, I hit send and except for the digital, the hollow foil gold covers, I send it as soon as the campaign's over because he
Takes a little bit of
invoices
time,
he
right?
invoices
Yeah.
me when he's getting ready to ship it.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
so by that time I get the funds already, so it just works out.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
Now,
So
here's the thing,
gotta
everybody out there
wait.
listening that buy any kind of Kickstarter, IGG, whatever, when it gets down to, hey, by the way, you need to reconfirm things when they send you an email, get that email turned around to them, because that's your email could be the one and hanging things up, or you you might not get your goodies because they haven't been able to get your address.
Oh, I have a package
you know?
that I emailed the person 10 times and I still haven't heard from the person, but I still have the package waiting to ship, but they haven't responded to any of our inquiries.
There you go.
You wonder what happens sometimes, man, because there'll be, this major campaign, you do, and then all of a sudden be like 10 backers just off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And you never hear from them ever again.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way they wanted it. Maybe they wanted you to give them to somebody else. Maybe. No.
Now, there is people that'll do that. There is people
really. Yeah. There's those silent funders that don't want anything.
I even tracked down one and I found their Facebook page and I DM'd them, no response. And I was like, okay, I guess they just wanted to back it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I get to keep the product and the money.
Thanks for the donation.
Hey, I'll do Kickstarters all day if it's like that.
Yeah, but I work aggressively, even from sales from my website. As soon as the order comes in, I'll get an alert saying you have an order. I will stop whatever I'm doing. I'll package it, get the shipping tracking number, and I email it them within an hour. They'll get the tracking number. I had a client in Hawaii said, "Hey, can I call you?" And I was like, So I gave my number. He called me. He says, "Oh, where's your store located?" I said, "I'm the artist. I'm the creator." He's like, Oh, I can't believe it. I got a tracking number in an hour, and the package that you sent me was so impeccably packaged. He ordered, I think it was like 8 copies of the homage cover, Crazy's homage cover, and he sent 3 of them to CGC to get certified. Great. And then he brought me customers. So
that's awesome.
So I think it's important to make sure that the customer is the number one most important thing at the time. So I don't want anybody waiting.
For everybody to know. Everybody needs to know that because we live in a world of shysters, and so it's good to know when you get it, it's on. I got you.
Your name is everything, and that's the only thing you can hang your hat on. And for me, it's it's the integrity about it. So I'm still waiting on a campaign that I backed last year.
Oh my! See, that's what I'm talking about. It's a bunch of shite, man.
I know that I never want to be in that position. And if my printer runs into a problem that's going to delay me, I immediately communicate that.
That's all you got to do. 99% of the time, people just want to know. Yeah. And they're 99% of the time, people are pretty cool with whatever is happening because for one, you can't do anything about it anyways.
Yeah.
So,
I had an issue with one, and it was sourcing of paper. The printer was having a problem with sourcing of paper with the amount of projects they had. And so, it took him 4 days to tell me this. And so then immediately, I had to remind. I said, "This is why indies get a bad break because if you would tell me, I can nip it in the bud and get ahead of it." I said, "So anytime you run into a problem, I need to know because this is beyond my control."
And it's okay if you have situations pop up, but at least relay them because I got people down line for me.
Exactly.
Yes. So I think just be transparent.
Awesome,
and people respect that and hopefully come back.
Hell yeah, good job. It's awesome.
Yeah, great campaign, man. Well done.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's still going. So we got to finish. We got to finish hitting this thing home. There's another
5
5 days out there, everybody.
There's still plenty. Just because it's back doesn't mean we can't get any more in there. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited, and the goal is again to collect it next year into a full graphic novel, and get it into the Walmarts and Targets, and get that ISBN number. And
hell yeah, let's do it, bro.
That's the goal.
It's done. It's awesome. Hell yeah, let's get it out there.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, this has been my baby for years, and
just a little while.
A little bit, just a little bit. And,
20 years.
It's about to be an adult because it hit his 21st birthday.
Yeah,
so then it can
start drinking.
It's an adult. Yes. You can take it out drinking now. So I mean, it's
So
it's fun. It's a fun project, and I love to hear from the readers. I've had some readers that followed from Indiegogo over to Kickstarter, and I got a lot of great feedback from them. And so that's the most important part for me It's that they're willing to stick around. And the thing is, the whole series is done, and every campaign, every issue that I launch a campaign for, they're guaranteed it's done. I'm not, and everything's taken care of. So it's not like I have to wait around for this or wait around for that. I'm waiting for the pages to be colored. No, when I launch the campaign, that means that issue is 100% ready.
Well, I want to also too give you some time to plug your podcast as well, because that's
Yeah,
how
for
I
sure,
first
bro.
met Sam,
Yeah.
and easily started. We hit it off, and I started getting him over creators and to talk about their campaigns. So it's great to be able to get him on to be able to talk about his campaign. So it's kind of come full circle, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So tell everybody about about Catch the Craze and how that just give them a quick snippet about that and when they can catch you and what you guys do, and because they are part of the NSC Roadshow Network, and we love having them on there. They're one of the top shows on there. So tell them a little bit about it, man.
Oh, Catch the Craze, like Forbidden. I launched Catch the Craze in '05, and like Forbidden, I walked away from podcasting. So we
A little early.
a little early, yeah. So but we were very popular when we launched back then, and we had everybody in the comic book game on our show. And then I left the business and I came back and we relaunched it uh, 2 years ago. In fact, September will be our second year return anniversary, and the things changed. We've updated, and we're a show that's basically 100% independent. We don't focus on the big boys. No disrespect to them. We really shine a light on the little guy. Whether you're a comic book creator, whether you're a children's book creator, a sculptor, an animator, whatever you're doing, and you're trying to create your own path in the world, we want to talk to you. And that's who. And we're about to celebrate episode 300. We've interviewed 300 guests over the years, and we're excited about it. And so our show's broken down into a few segments. We have our intro. Then we have a segment called "Get Your Meds," where we talk about something in the industry. So who doesn't need their medicine? And
Get your meds. That's why people are tuning in, Sam, is they think they're gonna get some job shit.
and then we have we talk to the creator, and then we have the oh my god, what's the name of the
300 episodes will do that to you, bro.
we have a
Yeah.
shout out show where we shout out, we give props to it. We'll identify a creator. We'll do a shout out. It's called something plug, shameless plug. So we have shameless plug segment.
You are the creator of it, so
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have the closing. And throughout that whole time, George and I play off each other. We have great chemistry on the show. And then once a month, we have the live show where we bring in the Four Horsemen, which is the original crew of Crazy Comics and Cast the Craze. We bring in Jonathan Syphex and Anibal Arroyo, and we'll just have a live show and we'll pick a theme or a topic. And it's our most popular segment because that's where we get a lot of people in the chat room, and it's growing. And so we're excited to get to episode 300. The goal is to hopefully by the end of the year get monetized on YouTube, and just keep growing from that point on.
I told George the other day, I said, you know what? I said his location is kind of like, unknown and like CIA operative kind of thing, because you never can. It's like you could do a game. Guess where George is at?
Yeah,
I love it. I was messing with him the other day. As I said, your undisclosed location. So you know what? I have government contacts, so we can track you down.
We'll figure it out, bro. Oh yeah. So can listeners find you on Spotify and all the other major podcast networks?
Anywhere that the audio streaming services with iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Podcast, Apple, Google Play. We're on all of it. We also stream.
Too many.
Yeah, we stream live on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And occasionally I will go live on Instagram simultaneously with all the others. So we're available, and every Friday there's a new guest. So every Friday, guaranteed, there's always a new guest on the show. When I get settled, I put a pause on 2 other shows that I do, which is the Crazy Intent LS, where I pick a topic that I talk about for 10 minutes, and there's also What's in the Box, where I'll review an indie comic book. And they're on pause because I'm packing and everything's packed and I'm moving. But they'll start up again in September. But what you'll see is some live footage from the EternoCon I'll be at next week. and I'll also be on IndianCon. I'm doing a podcasting panel on IndianCon. It's a virtual convention. And if you IndianCon is free, if you want to attend and get VIP package and get some swag, just use code CDC 4321, and CDC is abbreviated for Catch the Craze. So CDC 4321, and you get a discount and get some cool swag at IndianCon. So those are the last two things I'm doing for the year. I'm gonna get settled in Texas and reset up my new studio after I just built this one. I built this one a few months ago,
which we talked about. I got a chance to get on their show, and we talked about studio designs and everything, which was kind of cool. So, and the best and easiest place to find them and easiest to remember is just Catch the Craze, and you can also catch them on NSC Live TV. So if you go to NSC Live TV, hit the button right there that brings you to the podcasting tour. They're right there. So I mean, that's the quickest way.
Everywhere. TikTok, Snap.
And you're still married, bro. You must have the great. I don't know, like you must have the greatest wife ever. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
You know,
my help. You know, there's only 24 hours in a day, right? Yeah.
Yes, I know that, and that's the hard part. I wish there were more. That's the hard part. Give me more. It's
two more. I'm good.
And then and what gets me going, number one, is the fact that I have the support from her, and number two is that I have to work out every day because that's what helps me get through the day. So I get up in the morning at 6 a.m. I go work out, and then and throughout the workout I'm posting between reps. And, so
that's what I said, man. Hardest working man out there.
You know they have auto schedulers, right? You know that you can do all of it in one day.
You know the thing is I create the content,
and you love it, and it's fine. No, I'm just busting your balls. No,
every day I'm creating a new image. I'm putting together a new image every morning when I get up, and then I'm posting that out. And when I look at my folders,
there's about to be a new channel, kind of like what was that Jim Carrey show when it was they followed him around his entire life.
The Truman Show.
Yeah, there's going to be the Sam Show, and it's going to be this shot of him like sleeping, you know. And then he's going to wake up, and it's going to be the whole thing, right? It's going to be his workout. It's going to be
this little drone. You always hear a hum around Sam. Don't mind it. It's just the drone.
Yeah. It'll be live during breakfast, live in the bathroom. I mean, it's just going to be a complete, I guess the Sam channel.
People are down. Let's go for it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think the competition is thick, and I think every moment, my philosophy for me is every moment that I pause, someone else is moving past me. So I need to continue to make sure that I'm relevant, and that people know what I do, and I have to continue to network. And
that's the facts. Now, something interesting too, an event that happened the other day, and talking about moving forward and people pushing past. There was two guys in a race. And the guy that was leading the race didn't realize where the finish line was.
Yes.
And he thought he was there, but he wasn't there. The guy in second literally was telling him, "Go, go, go!"
Hey, bro.
And he finally had to just kind of grab him and kind of push him over the finish line. And people kept asking him, "Why did you do that? You could have won the race. You could have just zoomed past him." He's like, "That's not what it's about. It's the want." He said, "I don't want to win that way."
Yeah, because in his mind, the guy won.
Yes.
He was just disoriented because he lost, his bearings.
He ran some crazy long ass race.
Right. So, he would have won. He just got confused. So it was his race. He goes, there's not enough.
It was his race. Yep.
Yes. There's not enough of what is it that the words that he used? It's about just humanity and the respect. Yes. And I think that was, for me, that was the greatest example of, respecting your brother. And, it's like, I think it's what is it? The vice president went on TV trying to get people to take the vaccine and saying, on what is it? Respect your or love your brother, right? That's a great human example of loving your brother.
Yes,
he did there. It was a selfless act. That was beautiful.
When all that happened,
we need more of those.
Yes. We do. Right when you think it's about time for a meteor to just smack into the planet and reboot, right? Something like that happens.
And then you have a little bit more faith.
And you have a little bit more hope. You have a little bit of, and that's
what there are some good people out here.
Yeah. And that kind of makes me compare to what the three of us do, right? We're always out there helping the other guy, helping the other artist, helping bring the industry together as a whole. And I think that's just an awesome thing. So that's why I have a lot of respect for his show. And that's when I first approached him. I was like, man, I love what you guys are doing. You guys are doing stuff like we're doing. Let's just keep, building up each other and building up the industry
across the nation.
That's just, that's what it's about. That's what makes indie such a strong thing. It's nothing for another artist to put down his pencil for a second and say, hey, let me go help this guy kind of catch up and get where he needs to be.
Right.
And that's an awesome thing. So that when I saw that story, that just kind of reiterated that to me.
Yes.
For that race. So.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing of, it's, and sometimes it's lost. I think what happens is people get caught up in all of the things that's wrong with this world, and they forget that you have the power to influence it in another direction. If every person made a decision to say, I love you, or can I help you, or are you okay?
Change your perspective.
Those little things send out energy.
They go a long way. A smile.
Yes.
A smile to somebody. Yeah,
it's infectious.
Yeah.
Look at how many people will walk in a room and they all look serious, and that one person that smiles, and everybody's like, "Oh," and they lighten up, right? Like, oh, and that makes a difference. And and it's communicating without saying a word, and
awesome.
and everybody understands the language of a smile.
I told someone one time, speaking about changing the situation, I was going to get one of the many blood tests you got to do when you get into a job and stuff, and the lady came in with that forceful nature, slams down the cart, slams down this, slams down that, grabs open the drawer, grabs out a needle.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just kind of easing back in the chair, and I said, hang on a second. I'm not your husband or boyfriend or the person that upset you. I'm not your child. I'm none of those people, so don't take out what you just had happen on me.
Pump your brakes, lady.
Hang on a second. And that just kind of, she stopped for a second and smiled and giggled because she caught that she was in that bad moment.
Yeah,
she took a little bit of
bludgeon you.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to get jabbed hard.
I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, she was going to get blood, all right. But and I told my son the other day, my son and I had a long conversation, my oldest, and I said, you know what? You are in charge, because he's, 21 now. And I was like, look, you are in charge of how you feel about a situation.
Yeah. Yep. It's your choice.
It's your choice. How you digest that's part of being an adult. No one can force you to feel a certain way. Right. How you feel about it is your choice.
Yep.
And when something happens like that, you have to make sure that how you process it, that's all you're in charge of. You're not in charge of anybody else's feelings. You're in charge of your own. Yeah. And that's how you need to approach.
It's the choice you make in the moment. And I think people don't. Everyone deflects and likes to blame the situation on the situation or on a person. No, it's the decision you make within that.
It's always your fault.
Yes.
It's always your fault, but whether it's good or bad, it's always your fault.
You have a choice to make.
Yeah.
Go left or go right,
Oh, yeah.
See, life lessons. It's not just about comics. See, we got life lessons here too.
Yeah.
So.
Hell yeah.
It's funny, when I worked in the corporate environment, one of the things that some of my most aggressive bosses would be annoyed with me, because when there was chaos, I was the most centered.
Yes, you and I talked about that. Yep.
I would ask the question, how did we get here and what do we need to do to get out of it?
Yeah.
While they're in the blame game and they're screaming at the top of their lung, and they would say, why aren't you concerned?
Yeah.
I am concerned, but I don't need
I'm just trying to figure out a solution.
Yes, I don't need my blood pressure to go up.
We clearly know there's a problem.
To catch you guys up on the story that we're talking about, is there was a story that him and I were comparing these things. And the story that he gave out was in this moment of everybody forcing one issue, it was about the coffee machine, right? It was about the, in the environment, and that kind of reset the tone of the office. That, what are you doing? What are you doing putting in this coffee machine, this free coffee machine for everybody in the holidays? What are you doing? Why are you doing such a thing? And that
I just joined an organization, and it was in the winter. And, we had this big complex, and the senior leaders all had offices surrounding the cubicles that were down the center. And that's where the junior managers were. And I would watch, it's winter, and I would watch how many times they would leave to go to Starbucks or Bon Pond to get coffee, whatever. So I said, you know what? It's the holiday season. I went, around Christmas, I went and I bought this big Keurig, and I put it in the kitchen because we had a small kitchen, and I put it in there, and I filled up the cabinet with K cups, and I put milk in the fridge, and I had the sugar and the storage. I had everything set up for them, and I just walked back to my office. And next year, I'm getting called into my vice president's office, and and my colleagues and her they're chastising me for doing this. I made them look bad. And I was like, this wasn't about you.
Yeah.
I said, do you
exactly.
know? I said, if you watched how many times they went out for coffee in the winter, I said they could be more productive if they could just go to the kitchen, grab, and think about how the ideas exchange when by the water cooler, but really by the coffee machine, and they're chatting as they're making their coffee. It was a big win because it allowed me to connect with the team. Because I'm the new guy, and everyone's always afraid that the new guy's gonna fire everybody, right?
Yep.
And so it's like I'm the new guy, so they're like, "Oh, he did that."
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. So for me, it was just obvious because I was observing what was happening. I said, God, I'm going to fix this issue. And I just did it. And it came from a good place, but they turned it around. And I was like, look, this isn't about you. Well, we're going to pay you for this. I said, no, you're not. I'm not taking your money. Yeah. I said, and I'm not going to have this conversation anymore. And I just walked away,
And then that's why you don't work for them anymore.
Right. I was 10 months. I was out the door. I was like, I'm gone.
Here's your K cups. Piss off.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where, I think if we all just took the moment, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine today about observing behavior to be able to adjust and react to what's anxiety in the moment. Right.
And when we had that conversation on his show about it, we were talking about remaining calm and cool when everything else around you is crumbling.
Yeah.
And I had a guy exactly the same experience. We're in this meeting and everybody's just about to come to blows, really. I mean, it's just that many. And this guy leaned back and looked over at me. He goes, how are you so calm? I said, because when I lose it, the rest of the room will follow and there's no coming back from that. So I have to be the one to remain, the steady. I have to be that. And that's my role here.
Yeah. Someone has to be able to be focused. I mean, and again, it goes back to what I've dealt with in my early age when I was a security guard at an airport and we had bomb scares. You have to evacuate the premises, but you also have to stay there until the bomb squad shows up, and you're standing there.
NBD.
So I'm like,
hey, get everybody out except
I'm
you.
I'm standing there. There's a package right there. So I'm like, all right. So I go behind a pillar and I hold my ears just in case it blows. I said, hopefully this column protects me.
Yeah.
Stay calm. There's nothing else you can do. But because people are looking to you, and if you're the one that they're looking to for answers, and you're panicked and confused, then it creates chaos, and a lot of it comes back to life experience and just observing what that toxic reaction will do to an environment and to others. And if you understand your output, then you can correct it.
There you go.
Another life lesson.
More life lessons.
Good job.
we usually drop in some science, some life lessons,
geography.
It's kind of like the Sesame Street. Words. Yeah, the Sesame Street of podcasting is what we're trying to.
There you go. Can you tell me how to get?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Good job, man.
Well, it's been an awesome time, man.
Go check this project out.
Go check it out. Go check out Forbidden.
Fantastic, Sam. You're awesome. Thanks for this. Is awesome. Good job, man.
Always a pleasure. And we're gonna wrap up things real quick, and then stick around if you want to chat, and we'll tell some more stories to each other offline. But again, I know you're gonna jump back into packing here shortly, but so we'll catch you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, guys.
Man. Take care.
See ya.
That is always fun. Great
Didn't see
time.
that coming. Yeah, no, that was awesome.
That, right?
No, there was a lot of good things he said. He really, got
it's
there clearly, and
it pushes me to do better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain people that I reflect upon, and their energy, I choose to want to push even harder and do even better because of such a thing. But let me cover a couple of things in closing real quick.
Yeah.
Again, that project was Forbidden, and that's from Sam Vera. Make sure you go out and check that out, and we'll have some links up there as well for you to go check out. But again, the podcast today was again for Sam for Forbidden, and if you want to go check out last week's show, was a real treat, man. That was Kevin Eastman gave us some time, and we brought on. Yeah, we brought on Brian Wayne over from Cheers to Comics, and we just had a really good chat with Kevin and about what he was up to with the last Ronin, and what was cool was the fact that we got a chance to be in between some panels, right? So he was in the middle of drawing and stopped and chatted with us. So, like to Brian's point, we were in that history, in that moment between panels on the creation of one of the last Ronin books. So that was pretty cool. So make sure you check out that last show.
Yeah, he's a great, super cool cat.
That was a whole lot of fun. And then there is, what else we got going? Oh, and next week's show. Let me forget. Let me go ahead.
It's coming up early though, right?
Yes,
so
it's going to be. It's not going to be on a Friday. It's going to be on a Monday. And this is going to be a big treat. Let me throw this one up for you. This is going to be two titans in the industry, man.
Yeah.
This is Bart Sears and Monty Michael Moore. This is going to be a Monday episode for us. It's going to be coming up. It's like I said, it's earlier in the day. You'll be able to see some postings up about that here shortly. But Bart Sears and Monty Michael Moore back to back, and we'll talk about their current projects. Again, Local Hero 1.
It.
Oh yeah, Local Hero 1, Local Hero 2.
Michael Moore is doing these guys are awesome.
We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Bart Sears' project. Heads Will Roll. We'll talk about both of those. Both of those are going to in their final days at that point on Monday.
Yeah.
But you'll still have time to back them, and you'll be able to hear a bunch of great things from those guys. So that's going to be a fun show. And again, to tie into all these other episodes, and what I'm going to end on real quick is our new little outro, which is going to be about if you want to see more episodes, where to check that out. And as always, it's been fun, guys. So check out our new outro, and we'll see you on the flip side.
For more fun-filled episodes, come visit our website, www.comicrottery.com.